Yo, what's going on, gamers? It's Ryan 6 days a week, and today we're given the chance to check out the new Druid class on the Dark and Darker testing branch, and it's actually a lot more content than I expected in terms of new classes. With the initial testing release of this class, we're looking at 9 spells, 4 animal forms, and 7 perks, which is actually a lot more than what we first got with the Bard or the Warlock. We're also given a new starting staff, named the Ceremonial Staff, and of course can expect some new class specific gear down the line. Let's start with looking at the Druid spells, which, very much like the Wizard and Cleric, will utilize spell charges that must be recovered from resting. First, we have Nature's Touch, a small heal over time spell offering base 15 health recovered over 12 seconds. This spell also returns 15 recoverable health, which you'll see be a theme among many of these spells. Next, we have Bearskin Armor, which has a slightly inaccurate description at this current time, as it gives the receiver plus 20 armor rating for 8 seconds, opposed to a 20% increase in armor rating at this current time. Next, we have Summon Treant, which over a few seconds spawns in a self-driving treant that currently has no aggro features, but can act in a way as a body blocker. I haven't tested it out yet, but apparently it will become stronger if summoned in some kind of water source as well. Next, we have Entangling Vines, which will root any unit, friendly or foe, that walk into its ground-based AoE. The root itself is 3 seconds long, and the AoE persists for a total of 6 seconds. This root also affects higher level mobs, and synergizes with the Treant in a bit. Right now the Treant's attacks are a bit weak, but you can spawn the Treant first, and then entangle root some enemy, and the timing does work out. Next, we have the Thorn Barrier, which spawns in an actual physical barrier that damages contacting enemies for 10 physical damage per second. This barrier can also be broken down as well with your melee weapon, and if you have enough range, you don't have to take any damage to break down the barrier. Next, we have Dream Fire. Right now the Druid's only magic damage spell, and at the moment it is very similar to Cleric's Holy Strike in both AoE, damage time, and range. This spell is supposed to synergize well with Nature's Touch, the first healing spell we took a look at, but currently it looks like that functionality is not programmed in quite yet. Well, with either monster units or player units. I do expect it will affect both in the future. Next, we have Restore, which is essentially a mobile sanctuary that heals 30 health over 10 seconds. Again, do you know that many of these spells are a work in progress and will change in the future, as this one is very strong. Next, we have Mending Grove, which actually is very much a stronger sanctuary, and probably a stronger form of Restore in a way, as it heals 10 health per second and gives a 10% increase to your max health bonus. As well, it gives you the freedom to walk around inside of its AoE instead of locking you to a channel. I could see this stacking with Restore, which we just discussed, being tuned down in some way in the future. Right now, they both seem like Sanctuary, but better in just about every way. Visually though, this is probably my favorite spell out of the Druids, as it spawns in a small flowered and lit field for its duration. Very awesome job on that one. And finally, we have the Tree of Life, which is a non-self-casting 40 HP heal over time with a plus 5 all buff for 8 seconds. So essentially a regen-styled Holy Light, but with some stats too. Alright, now let's take a look at some of the forms, which currently aren't as fleshed out as the spells functionality-wise, but still pretty awesome to see. First, we have the Chicken form. In this form, you have 60% less health and healing from all sources, as well as a much smaller hitbox. Oh, just a quick note here, at this current time, all of the forms do unarmed damage at the moment, so their damage values are more or less going to be the same. Now, while in Chicken form, you do have an active skill that lets you peck at the ground and forage for insects. This is supposed to heal you for a percent of your max HP, but it doesn't seem to work properly at this time. You can activate it and you can see the animation, but I think beyond that, the functionality isn't quite programmed in. Next, we have the Bear form, which gives you some boost in PDR and additional health at the cost of move speed, action speed, and of course the ability to move through doorways. The active skill in this form gives you a temporary boost to your physical power and physical resistance, and while attacking in this form, your swipes seem to do a little bit of knockback. It tends to be unpredictable depending on what surface you're standing on, but it does launch your enemies away from you. Next, we have the Panther, which is the most mobile and will eventually be able to run on walls. The active ability for the Panther is called Rush, but again at this current time it doesn't seem to do much. Again, all attacks in this form do unarmed damage. So since this form has the highest attack speed animation, it technically does the most DPS at the moment. And finally, our fourth form, we have the Rat, which only has 5% of your total health and healing, but moves fast and has a tiny hitbox. The Rat's attacks also apply a tiny bit of poison, seems to be like 1 tick of poison. And eventually it's supposed to be able to squeeze under any kind of normal dungeon door, so wood doors single wide. Also, the active skill in this form gives you a temporary speed boost, and the alternate attack lets you squeak. Not sure if it'll have any other functionality besides making a little bit of noise, but hey, pretty cool you can do that. Now, let's move on to the Druid's perks, which we are given 7 to start. We have Enhanced Wilderness, which gives 5 movement speed and 10 armor while in any animal form. Natural Healing, which is a small healing aura that recovers 1 health per 3 seconds for you and all your nearby allies. Thorn Coat, which returns 5 true physical damage when hit by any melee attack. Force of Nature, which gives you 3 physical power to any unit who receives your healing. Spirit Magic Mastery, which gives you all your spirit magic spells plus 10 magical power. Sun and Moon, another team aura that gives 3 vigor points and 5 magical power to all your nearby teammates. And finally, Herbal Sensing, which detects nearby herbs. I do imagine this points to an increased importance in herbalism in the near future, since right now I don't think any players are really picking herbs. Overall, pretty excited for this class, but do you think there needs to be more skills like Spell Predation and Blow Corruption that strip buffs and prevent healing? Or Druid will very much become a required trios class with its healing over time team spells. We actually saw a sneak peek of Mobilized Sanctuary when the Bard first released, since Tranquility didn't require you to sit down and rest. It was very strong. Any team with a Bard usually would win the fight by attrition, and well, there was almost no counterplay at the time due to the lack of anti-healing and buff stripping in the game. Alright gamers, I hope you enjoyed this first look at the Druid class, and I'm excited to see the complete version in the main servers down the line. I think it'll shake up the meta quite a bit. If you don't have access to the test servers through the Trailblazers package and want to see some more gameplay of this new class, I will be playing the Druid live on Twitch when this video drops, so you can check out some gameplay there. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.